I'll be explaining condition statements in Java using this file explain-condition.java, which is a class designed to calculate allowance using if statements. I'm going to use a scanner here to collect user input, and I've established variables here. The integer HW, that stands for homework, and the integer total chores, and this double, which is allowance, and I will be using these variables. I ask the user their name, and it becomes a string type object. I've given the object reference name. I start with this, for my if statements, this while true loop, because I want it to continue. So I ask the user, did you complete your homework, yes or no? And the answer becomes this string type object homework object reference. And that input is calculated by this if statement. So this if statement is going to evaluate the input from the user. So if homework, their input, the object reference I gave, is yes, then the system will print out great work. And this variable will be changed to 7. And it will end. But if this is not the case, if this Boolean expression is not met, if this condition is not met, this if statement is not complete and it won't run this. It'll move on because I have down here an else if statement, which is a nested if statement. So if this isn't true, we move on to this, knowing this information. So this if statement is saying if homework equals no, follow through with this. And it'll print out, please complete your homework, and this variable will be 0, unlike it was here at 7. And then this loop will end. But what happens if this if statement and this if statement aren't true? Well, we have this else statement down here, which is the catch-all. So if neither of these says yes or no, it will come down here and it'll do this. And the system will print out their name plus please enter yes or no. And it's a loop. And this one won't finish, so it'll just start all the way from the beginning and ask you again, did you complete your homework, yes or no, until you choose one of these options or the user inputs a correct input, yes or no. Anything else, and you're going to run through this loop over and over again, and you don't get to leave. Next, I'm going to get more input. So how many times did you wash the dishes this week? And I've created a integer number dishes. And how many times did you walk the dog this week? And I've created an integer dog walk. And then I've created total chores, which is the total between number dishes and number dog walk. And then we calculate everything down here in this while true statement. So this is a little weird because I wanted to show you and or. So this if statement is saying if total chores, what we calculated up here, is equal to 0 and homework is equal to 0, then this will occur. The system will print out you're grounded and the loop will end. But again, this is an and statement. So if total chores is 0, it has to calculate homework and find out that it's 0. But this else if statement, if this isn't true, is an or statement. So if total chores is equal to 0, it stops calculating and it runs through and says no allowance and ends the loop. But if, say, this was 2 and this was 0, this has to run through both. This doesn't have to run through both. Moving on. So if one or the other is not 0, the loop ends. But if neither of them is 0, then we move on to another else statement, which is again our catch-all. So as long as these two variables aren't 0, we move here to this else statement catch-all. And so these two aren't true, we're going to end up with this. So allowance, and it'll make this calculation here of total chores times 75 cents plus homework, and it'll print out fantastic, you earned, and call out the allowance, and then the loop will end. Otherwise, all of these will occur. And now I'll just run this for you. Okay, what's my name? Ed. Did I complete my homework, yes or no? No, I didn't. And Ed, please complete your homework. How many times did you wash the dishes this week? 2. How many times did I walk the dog? 0. And because I put here no, it went back to that if statement at the bottom, right? And one of these was 0. Either of these was 0, so it outputted no allowance. Follows? And again, input my name, and let's try putting in gobbledygook. And it asks me again, it's continuing the loop. It wants me to put in yes or no here. So this time, let's not do our homework. And let's not do our chores. Oh, they got me. I'm grounded. Ed, you're grounded. And I'll run it again. What's my name? Ed. And this time, I did my homework. Great work. How many times did you wash the dishes? I did it 3 times. And how many times did I walk the dog? 3 times. Fantastic. I earned $11.50. Yay. Okay, so I hope that helps you learn about condition statements. If you have any suggestions, because I'm sure that I did something the long way and something the silly way or the wrong way, feel free to leave me suggestions. I would really appreciate them. Thank you.